everybody, and welcome to episode 10 of Coven Conversations. Today, I am co-casting with my longtime friend and fellow tri-stater, HuggableHipsterGaming. How are you doing, Huggable?
Listen, I'm just happy to be here. We're talking about Buffy. We're going to be talking about stuff. Okay, I feel like one of us is going to get triggered here.
We're going to get triggered so hard. I'm so excited because you were on my first the makeshift podcast way back when. And we had so much fun then. And now I feel like we've known each other for so long and we're talking about our favorite topic ever, which is Buffy, Lord and Savior.
I grew up with it, so I'm just like, yes, any chance I get to talk about it, I'm happy.
I like, there's no better conversation. But Huggable Hipster, I wanted to ask you something. So just so people get a little bit of background about your journey, I'm really proud of you because you were originally doing Twitch and YouTube, and then you took the leap to do full YouTube now, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
How has that been going for you? Are you happy like with the decision and everything?
So, okay, a little bit of backstory because I feel like I didn't even get to tell you the full story.
Yes, I want to hear everything. Tell me everything.
Okay, there was a lot of harassment going on. A lot of people were trying to like get more of a prying into my life, trying to like, it was like almost like level 10 of like, oh God, okay, I don't like being on this platform anymore type deal. And yeah, it was unfortunate too because I love talking with my community. I love being able to just have conversations about psychology and gaming, which is what I do. Like I combine psychology and gaming for those who don't know. And it got to a point of where like I'm getting too stressed out with this platform and doing YouTube and doing a book and doing everything that I need to do right now in my career. So I'm just like, you know what? Let me step aside and see how I feel taking a couple of days off stream. A couple of days turned into a month, and I felt so much healthier mentally not streaming anymore. So for me personally, doing the full switch over to YouTube, like we're almost like right now, like I got a notification, we're almost at 2,100 subscribers on YouTube.
Congrats! It's hard to grow on YouTube. That is amazing. You should be so proud of yourself.
I'm so excited because like we're getting new people in every day and it's just really, really cool. And hopefully by this year we'll get partnered because I'm close to being partnered on YouTube as well. So I'm excited.
Oh my God. Well, you know what? First of all, I just wanted to say, and I know I talked to you privately about this, but I'm so proud of you because so many people are scared to do a huge shift because of you feel this pressure to maintain and you don't want to like upset people. You don't want to like lose people or rock the boat. And you did something that was so healthy for yourself, and that is amazing. And it's a very unusual. Most people, like a lot of people, will switch to Twitch, but there's another spectrum of Twitch where there are toxic people on this platform, and there is harassment to streamers, and it's not fair, and you should not have had to deal with that. And I'm so sorry you experienced that, but I'm so proud of you for making the full leap to YouTube. And I know you're working on your book, right?
Yeah, it's called Patient Named Erica, and it's a psychological horror. So I'm really, really excited.
Ooh, we love horror, and I love horror. I can't speak for everyone, but a lot of us love horror in here. But I'm really excited for you. And on your YouTube, you do like video edits where you break down different games, usually horror games, right?
Yeah, I do mainly game reviews, whether it be from like a journalistic standpoint or a psychological standpoint. And I also do like freelance video editing, which is my main career besides doing YouTube. So
did you play Little Nightmares too?
I did. I love it so much.
I was so mad. Okay, don't say spoilers because not everyone's finished, but fuck that game. Jesus. I was so upset. Are you kidding me?
I was like, by the end of it, I was like, no, Gabe, how dare you?
How dare you? How could you do that to us? And also by the end of it, I was getting so agitated because like the levels that they made you repeat, you know, like the looping through the portals and the pink. Well, I just was like, okay, we get it. Like this is too many times I have to do the same thing. But I loved that. I love Little Nightmares. What an amazing horror game. Like, so good. Really so you finish it. Do you have a video of it on your YouTube?
I do. Yeah, I have a full review on it.
Yeah, nice. Okay. So now it's time to talk about Buffy.
Listen, I gotta say something before we even get into this fucking conversation because it's gonna go down. Conversations with Dead People is by far the best episode ever made. Mic drop.
Wait, okay. Did you hear about Conversations with Dead People who was actually supposed to visit Willow?
Yes, and I was like, are you serious?
was so mad. Okay, so for anyone who doesn't know, there's an episode. It's actually one of the most unique stylistic episodes. It has a totally different vibe called Conversations with Dead People. And what ends up happening is that it's in season 7, the first comes in different forms of dead people to come to our main characters, everyone other than Xander. Xander gets shafted. Although, did you know who was supposed to come to Xander too?
Oh.
Okay, so do you remember in the very first season, he had that friend who turned into a vampire? I'm like blanking on his name right now.
Yes, oh my gosh, I remember that.
Wait,
guy.
No, what is his name? It's gonna drive me crazy.
Wait, I have to look this up.
I can
right
like
now.
hear him saying it. You know what I mean? Like I keep saying Cody, but it's not Cody. Oh my God, I'm gonna lose my mind. Google it.
I don't know why in my head I thought Siegfried.
No, wait, like, it was like, wait, this is good. Oh my God, this is gonna make me so mad. But you know who I'm talking about, right? He was supposed to come back and visit Xander. And, but the actor couldn't make it work. So they like scrapped that. So Xander did not get visited, which kind of makes sense because Xander, if you watch the show, Xander's always the Zeppo. He's always the, which is a reference to his singular episode, but he's always the one who's sort of the normal one, the human touchstone. He's not special. He's not, in quotes, remarkable like all the other Scoobies are. But he still obviously is very important and influential to the group. But so he didn't get visited. But Conversations with Dead People, in that episode, Willow gets visited by Casey, right? Her name was Casey.
Yeah. Oh, Holden, that was his name.
His name was Holden?
Yeah.
That doesn't sound right.
Buffy and Holden. I'm looking it up right now. I have it the Buffyverse wiki.
Holden?
Yeah, he's really Holden. Sorry.
No, that doesn't sound right. Hold on. The guy, Xander friend, turned into vampire season 1. That doesn't. Holden. Is it really Holden? Jesse. His name is Jesse.
Oh, Jesse.
Jesse. Holden, I think was
Holden here.
I think that's who she went on a date with when it was like in season 1 where Angel gets all jealous and they take him to the morgue.
Oh, I know.
Is that it? I feel like Holden was somebody that like Cordelia dated, but no, I knew it was Jesse. I knew it was something with like a hyper, because I remember him yelling it and it was like, Jesse, he was like excited. But no, okay, so your favorite episode is Conversations with Dead People?
Yes, I love it so much. It's by far, because like it's so well written and just the music going along with the script, and plus like Dawn's mother, like they're,
oh my God. So hardcore. Well, okay, so for also anybody who's lurking or listening, there's going to be spoilers. So if you haven't completed Buffy, it's been out for 20 years, so I'm sorry, but we are going to say some spoilers. So the thing is about Conversations with Dead People is that obviously it's a very emotional episode, but what happened with the first representing Joyce and everything that happens in that scene, and it created that initial distrust that Dawn said, oh, maybe I can't trust Buffy. It was like the first time that kernel, I feel like, was implanted in her. And then later on, we know what happens towards the end of season 7 when they literally revolt and kick Buffy out of her own fucking house, which will never not make me infuriated. I mean, let's just talk for a second about, let's just start from the ending and go backwards. So season 7, what are your feelings towards season 7? Because it's a mixed bag.
Season 7 for me, I feel like was the most human of all the seasons, because like you have seasons 1 through 6 where they're just like high on their mighty fucking kite, where they're like, oh, you know what? We're supernaturals. We can do all this stuff. And then season 7, they're like, oh shit, like, we're possibly gonna die. Like, Spike shares his feelings for Buffy, everything starts to get really chaotic. And I feel like this is the first that we're seeing them actually be vulnerable and be okay with just being human, so to speak.
And also coming off of season 6, where there is so much turmoil at the end of season 6. I mean, season 7 feels like, you're right, it was a very humbling season. Everyone got fucking humbled. Everybody. The only one who really didn't was Willow, but I feel like she got humbled all of season 6. Willow was humbled all of season 6, got humbled hard.
Character. Because it's like, I half like her and I half just want her to go away.
Yeah, no, wait, did you say you want Willow to go away?
partially, because it's like I thought that by the end of it she just got really obnoxious because she let a lot of her like past affect how she interacts with everybody.
I'm going to like throat punch you. What do you mean? What are you trying to say? I love Willow. I will always love Willow. I don't want her to go anywhere. And I feel like the only thing I didn't like about Willow's story arc is that, you know, obviously they were trying to make it analogous to addiction, which it was, but I do feel like, you know, they sort of hit the nail on the head a couple too many times. That's my only, you know, qualm. The whole thing that happened with Dawn where she's drunk and she crashes the car.
Yeah, exactly.
That whole thing was, I understand they needed a rift to cause Willow to realize how out of control she's gotten. That was like her lowest low, is putting Dawn in such jeopardy that she gets injured and breaks her arm and almost killed. But at the same time, I just feel like her story was important. Season 6 highlighted for me Willow's entire story arc. From where she was like this nerdy-ish. She wasn't really, I mean, she was always beautiful. I feel like they tried to make her seem like she was more unwantable. You know, the whole triangle with her and Oz and Cordelia and Xander. Like, get out of here. You're all beautiful. Anyways. But, you know,
Honestly, with Angel too, because like whenever I think about it, it's like I can't stand Angel sometimes, but he is also one of the more relatable characters within the story.
Well, I love Angel. I'm a Bangel girl. I love Angel. But okay, first of all, see, this is what I knew. There's so much to talk about. We have to do like 3 segments. We're like jumping. Okay, so season 7, would you put that in a high category of your favorites or like on the lower spectrum?
Oh, high, definitely. Within like top 3.
What's your favorite season?
I think, okay, this is gonna sound so cheesy, but my favorite season is season 4 first. Because
really?
Yes, because when I went to college, I was like, this is nothing like college.
Oh my God, you are the first person I've ever met in my life that's favorite season is season 4.
It is so good for me. I loved The Gentleman. I loved that story concept. It won awards.
Yes. Hush.
It was so
It was
good.
The highlight of season 4 for sure.
Yeah, and like, for me, honestly, like season 4, top 1. Next one is season 1, and then season 7.
Okay, so let me just, for anybody who's in the Buffy fandom, Huggable Hipster's 3 favorite seasons are almost universally the most hated of the 3 of all the seasons.
I don't know why, but you know, it is.
It's crazy. Okay, because like, for instance, I love season 7. I'll give you season 7. I think season 7 has its ups and its downs, but I think as a complete package, it encapsulated what the series Buffy meant for fans. I think the ending will always give me chills. It will always make me cry. It's always so beautiful. The moment between Spike and Buffy when he is saving the literal world is one of the most beautiful love story endings that I've ever seen. However, there's a lot of pitfalls. There's a lot of plot holes with season 7 where Joss Whedon, there was very few plot holes throughout the first 6 seasons. Season 7 had some major issues. But that's because, unfortunately, the first was introduced back on the Christmas episode. Do you remember that with Angel and Buffy's crazy bangs?
Do. Yes.
So that do you remember her bangs in that?
Every Thanksgiving, I watch that episode.
Do you really? I love that.
Tradition for me.
It's a great episode, and that's when the first was introduced to torment Angel, and then I think Joss was like, "Whoa, this is too big. Let's save this for later." Like, you know. But the only thing is, I think the first had its pitfalls. I think having to have the Turrican, and then you have Caleb, and you have to have all of these things, and then there's a huge thing of like, why did it take Buffy, you know, almost getting killed fighting the Turrican in the arena, if you so to speak, the construction area. But then, you know, she's in the literal mouths of the mouth hell literally in the hellmouth's mouth, and she just smashing and murdering them left and right. So there's a lot of pitfalls with season 7, but I do love season 7. So season 4 is your favorite. Did you like Riley?
Well, don't get me started on that jerk word, seriously. Okay, so Riley, I thoughts on that, dude. So I thought that it was cool that they made a relationship with Buffy since she felt so unhuman, so to speak. So whenever I saw that, I was like, oh, cool. They're giving her the stereotypical human relationship. Love that for her. But then when everything like literally fell to shit, I was like, oh, wow. Didn't see that coming. Okay, cool.
Yeah. I think Riley was supposed to be a human touchstone, but what ended up happening is that he wasn't really human. He was being pumped with medicine or whatever to make him subhuman. And I think Riley unfortunately ended up becoming the archetype for I'm an insecure man because you are so powerful and I can't accept the fact that you are more powerful than me. And I think that's an unfortunate narrative that played out through season 4 and season 5. Do you know a lot of people, when they first watch Buffy, they don't realize that Riley is in 2 seasons. He is not a small character. He's actually in a longer relationship than Angel or Spike was.
Yeah, and that's the thing of where I was like, I love the character development, but the way that they went about his character was questionable.
Yes. They did a disservice because I do think that Buffy should have had one real relationship. Like one, I think it could have, I think that they were on the right track, but having an end where he's literally cheating on her with vampires sucking his blood in a brothel, crack house, was unbelievable. I mean, that was so unnecessary,
It was. I mean, like, it wasn't just that it really sucked for him. It really, was one of those ideas of where, like, oh, shit, like, they're putting reality into this entire show, which is what I really loved about season 4, because they made, Buffy go to college. They had her in a relationship. They went in and they actually implemented all of these human qualities into her life. The Thanksgiving episode, like, that's why I love season 4. Yeah. And also, just to briefly mention, what was it? Once More with Feeling.
Yes.
Can we please talk about
we're going to talk about Once More with Feeling. Oh, don't you friggin' worry. I got you. But I want to just talk about how when we're talking about human moments, when a lot of people and a lot of young women in particular watch Buffy, and the reason why, and it's not just women, but in general, it resonates is because you have these beautiful supernatural beings like Buffy, who to me is my hero for life. Like, very rarely do you have a main character of the show be almost exclusively, no one hates Buffy. I mean, you have like shows like Orange is the New Black where the main characters are like literally the most despised. But Buffy, she is the all-encompassing hero of the show. I will literally die. But this is what I love. Even season 4, which is not my favorite, but I can appreciate her very brief encounter with Parker. Remember him?
Oh, yes, I remember Parker.
So that was a really important thing. Buffy had just gotten over Angel, which we're gonna talk about Angel, okay? Because like literally shaped my whole love life off of Angel. But the thing is that Parker was just a regular guy, and Buffy finally opened up to a regular guy, had sex with him, and he lost interest in her. It wasn't because she wasn't beautiful or smart, or she's literally fucking Buffy. She's Buffy. Yeah. He is just a dude, and he did not have any interest. And I loved how they were really smart when she finally decided to have sex with him, which was a big moment because the only other person she had sex with was Angel, and immediately after he lost his soul and then killed a bunch of people. So when she finally opened herself up, Parker was just a douche. It wasn't that he was an evil douche and he lost his soul, and it was just that that's what happens sometimes for young women in college. And I agree with you. That was a very human moment, and I hated Beer Bad. I hate that episode.
God, same. I didn't like that one either.
Beer Bad is, we're talking about Buffy. Buffy, the Vampire Slayer TV show, not movie. But yes, Beer Bad is trash. It's the worst episode in the entire series. I hated it. I skip it. But season 4 is good. Now, why do you like season 1?
Okay, so season 1, I feel like it's just iconic because it's the start of the season after they did the movie in the 80s. So for me personally, whenever I see that, it just reminds me of my childhood, because I remember going to the mall when I was a kid. I saw that on the shelf and I was like, oh, they have it from the TV show and everything. I was just a little kid geeking out, and everything. My mom showed it to me at 10. So she got that for me when I was little, and she watched it with me because she was like, okay, if you have any questions, just be sure to ask me. I'm like, all right, sounds good, Mom. So it just has so many memories for me.
It's like the nostalgia factor of season 1.
Exactly, yeah.
I totally get that. And I think I appreciate season 1. I always say that, you know, season 1 is you have to get through it. It's a little dated compared. I mean, it is an older show, but it is a little dated, season 1. But it's amazing, and it's endearing, and it's charming, and the characters are being introduced in a really fun, alive way. These characters are getting to know each other. And really, after season 1 is finished, there is no relief from the pedal. Season 2 is phenomenal. Season 3 is phenomenal. I would say season 4 is phenomenal. It's not my favorite. Season 5 is a whole next level to me. Season 5 and season 6 are especially season 5 to me has some of the best episodes of TV history. The Body, which is spoiler warning and trigger alert, but The Body was in season 5, and that was one of the most grounding and incredible representations of loss and grief that an entertainment value could bring. It's kind of scary how realistic it was. It's when Buffy's mom dies, and Buffy finds her mom. She doesn't die from a supernatural cause. She just has an aneurysm. She just dies, and there's no way to undo it, like with other deaths that had happened. And incredible episode. How do you feel about The Body? Yeah, hard trauma.
That episode for me was one of where, like, I thought, okay, there's gotta be, like, you know, some supernatural thing. It wasn't really like clicking in my head. And it's interesting because after seeing that, well, not for the first time, but like after seeing it for like a few times, you know, like I brought like a box set with me to college, and I would like watch that episode, and when it would come on again, I would almost have like a pit in my stomach because I would be like, oh god, this episode,
you knew what was going to happen
coming up again.
Yeah,
exactly. And then and it's funny because like after I had watched that episode my freshman year of college, I thought, you know, okay, it's just like a normal day. I had gotten a call from, a family member. Actually, it was my mom who called me saying that a family friend of ours was murdered. And I was
my gosh.
Yeah, this is a great way to start off, you know,
I'm so sorry. Yeah, and so, I think that's pretty hardcore. Okay. Yeah. No, I know, and it helped you maybe work through it, because it is a really real, I mean, so basically, for anyone who's not seen the episode, it's Joyce, who is Buffy's mom, and Buffy's mom she's not a background character in the sense of she is a mom figure in the show. She is there from day one, dropping Buffy off, and welcome to the Hellmouth at school, opening credits. Literally, the first word is coming, mom. That's the first thing out of Buffy's mouth, opening line of the entire series. This is not a relationship where, you know, she does have an absentee father. He's sort of introduced to us through season 1. He sort of trickles off season 2, and he's completely gone by like the end of season 3. There's like no even reference to him after season 3, really. But she has Giles, who's basically her real father, whatever. But Joyce was a character that was important. She wasn't how other TV shows, like in Riverdale, the parents are like they put them in, they take them out, who cares? Joyce was important and had relationships with everyone in the entire series. And when she passes away, she had a brain tumor. And I wanted to ask you, Huggable, about this fan theory that I read that sort of makes sense and is sort of really upsetting. But I want to ask you about this after. But basically, she gets a brain tumor in season 5. And Riley, her boyfriend, who is supposed to be there for her, is all mad because she has to be strong for her family and her sister and her mom. And she has shit on her plate, and she's literally taking care of her ill mother. And Riley's like, I want to be able to take care of you. She's like, fuck you, I don't want you to take care of me. Anyway, sorry, I digress. But basically, what ended up happening is she had a brain tumor. She had recovered. She was doing okay. And then inexplicably, Buffy comes home, and Joyce is just on the couch. She's dead. The episode The Body plays out where there's no music like in all the other seasons to bring a sort of
that was haunting.
Haunting, so haunting, because that to me was the hardest part of that episode, is that there's no relief of any kind in that episode.
And that's what's so real about it, I feel.
Yeah. There's no relief. I mean, probably to me the two most profound moments of that episode is, well, besides the mommy, which I'm getting chills just saying, you know what I'm saying. But when Buffy goes to Dawn's school and there's just silence. Yeah. And like Dawn you can't hear what Buffy's saying, but you're just seeing Dawn's reaction. You're seeing the students' reactions, and the teacher's reaction was so good.
It's interesting that you bring that up, because it's like you see so much of like this when we're young, and we don't know the actual like implications of it until we're older now, and we have like we pay more attention to our family. We're not just like rebellious teens anymore. So seeing that, it puts it into so much of a perspective. I feel like if I saw that episode again, I would bawl my eyes out, because I never did before. And you think that it's such a weird contradiction, and I'm just like, oh shit, like it's just giving me chills thinking about it.
It's so good. And then the other one is Anya's monologue. Because Anya, that's a very famous monologue that she gets people talk to her about to this day. She actually gets mad when you bring up bunnies or if you bring up that monologue. She's like, I was acting, blah, blah. But the thing is that monologue resonated because Anya in the series, she's introduced to us in season 2. She is or season 3. Was she in? No, season 3 she was introduced, right? Yeah, because Cordelia. So, yeah. After Xander cheats on Cordelia. Anya comes in as the guise of a high school student to do vengeance on Xander. That whole, thing happened. Yeah. But the charm. So basically, Anya gets introduced to us in season 3. She's a vengeance demon. She's thousands of years old. She becomes human, lots of things. It's a long story. But basically what ends up happening is in season 5, she's now dating Xander, ironically. And she's dealt with death. She's actually probably killed thousands of men herself. She's witnessed death thousands of times at her own hand. She was a vengeance demon. That's what she did. She inflicted vengeance and harm and mayhem. And now you have this character who is reeling and cannot process Joyce, who is Buffy's mom, her death. And it's a beautiful monologue. It is chilling. I recommend, even if you've never seen Buffy, which everyone should, but you should go listen to it, because if you have experienced death and you're having trouble processing, she basically articulates what I feel like people feel when there's loss, inexplicable loss. Exactly. So that is an amazing episode. Absolutely an amazing episode. I think season 5 is just entirely the best, one of the best seasons. I mean, I don't know if I like 3 or 5 better, but they're amazing. But now let's talk about another amazing episode, Once More with Feeling, season 6. How do you feel about Once More with Feeling?
Giddy. Oh, so giddy. I love that. Thank God. The monster. Oh.
I love it.
Did they absolutely what it's like to just be singing when nobody's looking, but just the pure so I am a theater nerd. I did it in high school and I did a little bit in college, and it just made me feel so wholesome. Like, I love it so much.
Yeah. Oh, no. And also, for me, I'm not a musical lover, so I actually feel the flip side. I usually don't like musical episodes in TV shows. And holy crap, if you have seen Buffy, everyone knows Once More with Feeling. It's probably the pinnacle of musicals interjected into a non-musical style TV show. Period. So good. But yes, I agree with Danny. Yes, there was an emotional investment in Joyce that we saw Joyce, just going back, we saw Joyce, Buffy's mom, coming to terms with Buffy becoming a slayer and a woman in a lot of ways, and an independent woman, and then it just gets taken away almost when at the moment where it feels the safest, because the episode is called Into the Woods, which you think, Joyce is okay. You think Joyce is okay, and now we're just from that title alone, you think you're out of the woods. There's actually, it's in the episode, the doctor says, yes, we're out of the woods, but the episode is called Into the Woods. So it's almost a foreshadowing of the whole Joyce story. But yeah, Once More Feeling is an amazing episode. I think that it is honestly a crucial episode too, in the sense of like, so much gets uncovered through that episode.
Absolutely. The fact that she's like, I was taken out of heaven. I'm
Yes.
just like, when I first heard that, I was like,
No. And I think that, dealing with season 7, a lot of people who don't like six, is because season 6 is the darkest of all the 7 seasons. I will stand by that. Do you feel the same way?
Oh yeah, I mean, like, if season 7 is the most human, I feel like season 6 showed the darker side of all the characters and kind of their true intentions, if that makes sense.
Yes, and also the other thing about season 6 is that it was the first time that the villains of the season, which in turn it turned out that Willow was truly the season villain, but the trio, the gang of Warren, Jonathan, and oh my god, what is his name?
I'm spacing.
Wait, why am I spacing on it too? He's literally in the whole season 7.
Warren, Jonathan. Oh my god! It's not.
Wait,
wow, why did I think of?
Why am I? Okay,
first?
wait. Why Warren, Jonathan, and Aaron? No, what is his?
We're spacing on names today.
What is happening? The trio is. What's happening to us? What's happening? Warren, John, Andrew, not Aaron, Andrew. Okay, why did we all have a collective brain fart? That was really, really weird.
It's like, oh my god, hashtag twinsies.
Like, what the hell just happened? Okay, but so with the trio, we have these 3 men who are actually supposed to be before we even had coined this term, before the meme was even existed, before troll. I don't even think the word troll. They were the archetype for incels. I mean, the classic, especially Warren, the stereotypical, misogynistic, sexist, women hating while also being completely obsessed with women incel. So, that was the trio, and they were human men. And I think that was really kind of scary too, to see how far these 3 human men would go to get any kind of power over strong women. It's a very intense season. And then it turns out that the villains, Warren in particular, were villains, but that the big bad was really Willow when she loses Tara, which I'm going to cry.
Yeah, that was just sad.
No. Were you a Tara fan?
You know what? I really liked her character. I felt that, now that I know this word, I felt like in the beginning she was a little sus, but
yeah,
I grew to really, really enjoy her character a lot.
I think that for me, Tara really blossomed in the moment where Buffy confesses that she's sleeping with Spike, and she's not judgmental. She's just there for her. That's a beautiful moment too, because Buffy feels so much shame sleeping with Spike, which I want to talk about because I don't understand the shame. But anyways, she feels so much shame sleeping with Spike, and she confides in Tara, who is always sort of on the periphery of the Scoobies. And she confides in Tara, and Tara just goes like, "Do you love him?" And Buffy kind of looks like no, but maybe, I'm not sure. And Tara goes, "No, it's okay if you don't too. Like, you don't, he's done good and he does love you." I think that's like a direct quote. And she was like, she didn't judge her like all the, like Xander the douche, like Xander judged her, and Willow even would judge her, which also I feel like Willow should not be judgmental of anybody because you dated Kennedy, so like shut the fuck up. But
I didn't say it, you said it.
Do you like Kennedy? Please tell me you don't.
I don't. I feel like he's just one of those throwaway characters.
Horrible.
The Team Shade.
Also, it's a character that got way too much limelight. Like, are you kidding me right now? Like, who are you, girl screaming at Buffy? Who do you think you are? Ooh, I would throw hands at Kennedy. But no, so because I feel like, for me, I love season 3 the best. Season 3 is my favorite. I think the mayor, the faith, the reeling from Angel coming back. I also, like you, I resonated very deeply with the whole high school. I wasn't in high school when I watched it, but I watched it and I just the prom episode is my favorite episode. I literally cry every single time I watch it. I danced to my wedding to Wild Horses with my husband. Like, I love the episode of the prom because to me, Angel does a lot of bad things. Like I want to talk about Angel versus Spike for a second. Because here's the thing. This is the biggest conversation in the fandom is Angel Spuffy or Bangel, right? But
Spuffy.
Yeah. How do you feel about from when we first are introduced Angel in the episode of season 1 named Angel all the way to his exit at the end of season 3? How do you feel? Just not his TV show. We'll get into his TV show, but just from what we see of him on the show Buffy.
Trade when it comes to the end because it's just like how dare you? Like she loved you, sir, okay? Because like the thing is like he's a good character. In all reality, he is a very good character within the show, and I love their relationship, but I feel like he was not as genuine as Spike. Angel was always hiding something. He was always like, oh my god, like I gotta keep her safe, I gotta do this. He was like the Edward Cullen of the show, and I'm just like, you are just gotta be there for her. Just be the boyfriend. Just be a good man, okay? Yeah. And then Spike comes in, he's a bad boy, but at least he's honest about it.
Right. Well, just even touching on that, I love Angel, okay? To me, he is the most, like, season 3 of Angel, I would literally cut off my left arm. Like, I would, like, literally, like, if we can have a time machine, the things I would do to get back there, okay? But the thing is that Angel, by all intents and purposes, he is not a good man. He wasn't a good human man. He was a drunk. I think there was, sort of a reference in the show of his relationship with his father. I'm pretty sure he went back and killed his entire family as a vampire. He is not a good man. He wasn't a good human man, and he was a terrible soulless vampire. I mean, he literally has a split personality of Angelus. He's such a horrible vampire that they literally gave him a different name when he is a vampire, like a not sold vampire, right? But the thing that I don't understand is that Spike as a human was a soft, poetry writing, Cecily loving, mother taking care of man. He was a good man. He loved his mom so much that he wanted to make her a vampire so that he can live with her forever, right? He became a vampire, and he killed some Slayers. All right, fine. He killed the Slayer in the Boxer Rebellion, and he killed Robin Wood's mom. Okay, I'm sorry. That's terrible. Fuck, it sucks. But here's the thing. Spike, pre getting a soul, pre getting a chip, season 2 helps Buffy defeat Angel when Angel wants to suck the world into the fucking demon mouth, okay? First time Spike was friends with Joyce. They were so cute. And then Spike gets a chip in season 4, which he basically gets put into a dungeon or like an underground government-run facility, and they put a chip in his head that anytime he tries to have the impulse to bite or attack a human, he gets like an electrical impulse in his head, almost like a seizure. And so good. And that was very clever also. That was a very like clever way to get Spike sort of tamed while he's still sort of like Spike without, because Spike with a soul is totally different than Spike without a soul. But not in the way that Angel is, So there's this weird thing to me that makes no sense. Like, why do you feel like Buffy felt so much shame being with Spike, but not with Angel, who actually is a horrible human being and horrible vampire?
Because Angel manipulated her into believing that he was good. Spike showed his true colors, and back in the day, whenever we saw like the douchebag type guys, on the surface, we always kind of like gravitated away from those types of guys, and we would kind of feel shame for like being with them in that way, because if you think about it, there's so much of this stigma around like women who sleep around, unfortunately. Like it doesn't matter how many guys you sleep with, the character of the person, but they're playing off of that stigma, I feel, and that's why.
So you think it was more that she was sleeping with just another vampire and that he was Spike, and they kind of made like the whole Scooby sort of had this outlook on Spike that he was gross and lesser than, and that's what you think was the stigma around him? Okay. Because I never understood, because to me, Angel kills Miss Calendar. He brutally tortures Giles for hours. Okay. He tries to end the literal world. And the reason why Angel ever even got his soul was because he killed a young gypsy girl. And her coven, if you will, or her family cursed him with a soul. He never wanted a soul. Spike, when he wasn't ensouled, helped Buffy. When he got chipped, he helped Buffy. And then when Seeing Red happened and that horrible episode that, like, again, sort of wrecked a lot of people's ideas of Spike, the thing is that he went out and fought his way to get a soul to be the best man Buffy deserved. Angel never did any of that. And I love Angel. He'll always be my favorite. But he literally is if he could, he would lose his soul and he would be a happier vampire. Do you know what I mean?
So why do we stand Angel then?
I honestly, I'll tell you why. Because the first love, man, watching Buffy fall in love with Angel and watching their story unfold through season 2 where Angel loses soul and then he comes back in season 3 and watching their love was enormous. And by the way, Joss Whedon himself, even though he's a douche in and of himself, but he stands by the same thing. Spike was a better man for Buffy, but Angel and Buffy are like soulmates. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
I mean, I like it, but I know what you're saying.
I know. Well, you like Spike better, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is that I actually think Spike was a better man for her, though. You know? Yeah, Spike genuinely changed over his arc, and Angel only changed because he felt bad or it was forced upon him.
Right.
Yes, Spike's soul was a reward and Angel's soul was a curse. That is actually like the most all-encompassing statement. But maybe I'm fucked up. I don't know. I'm like toxic. When Angel breaks up with Buffy and Buffy is crying, I'm gonna cry. Literally gonna cry.
I don't like that. That one for me, that was just like, no. No.
Well, he knew that, like, how would they ever work? He couldn't have sex with her. And I'm not trying to say that sex, all it comes down to in a relationship is sex. It doesn't. But he couldn't have even a moment of true joy with her or he'd lose his soul. I mean...
Yep. It's like, that's just an Edward Cullen pull right there. Because he leaves the same way Edward Cullen... I mean, like, okay,
yeah, well, Twilight copied Buffy, but yeah.
This is true, but still, it's very like he's like the OG Edward.
Oh, he's the OG Edward. Absolutely, he is. They both broody, and yes. Okay, keep going with what you're saying.
Yeah. So like so it's kind of like this inner monologue that I have of whenever I see people like do the debate of Spike versus Angel, and I'm just like, no, but I love you, but no, come back, but no, go away, but no, your soul is too damning for me. No, oh my god, do you want to get a cheeseburger sometime? No, go away. Like, I can't.
I can't. No, it's true. They had a very push-pull, unhealthy dynamic. The only difference is that Buffy, when Angel leaves, picks herself up by her bootstraps and becomes a badass bitch. Bella tries to yeet herself off a cliff, okay? So like yeah, exactly. Let's not even try to compare Buffy, and nobody is Buffy. But no, I get it. I get it.
Just go away somewhere out there far away. Buffy is a queen.
A queen.
Knows how to rebound.
Always. And okay, so, and I agree, Danny, like Spike has more of a, I wouldn't say it's slimy. He says what he means. He's funny. I mean, out for a walk, bitch. Like, he's funny. He's iconic in that way. But he's no different in his personality, if you will, than Anya or Cordelia. They all say what they feel. They're all the comedic relief. So we praise Anya and we love Cordelia. Then we should feel the same way. Then the Scooby should have felt the same way about Spike. I think, going back to what Huggable was saying, I agree that Spike was sort of stigmatized. Like, his first entry was when he was working for, like, the first, remember that little kid who was like the prophecy kid?
Oh yes, I remember that. That was in season 1, right?
Yeah, season 2. I feel like it was when Buffy had to do, it was definitely season 2, because when it was Buffy, or was it season 3? Because it was when Buffy had to do the parent-teacher conference, and I get season 3 vibes. I feel like it was season 3.
Okay. Yeah,
I could be wrong.
Season 1.
It feels like season 1, but it couldn't have been season 1 because Spike wasn't introduced in season 1. It could have been season 2 or season 3, but I think Spike was introduced season 2 because, yeah, he was definitely introduced season 2, so it definitely happened in season 2. But she looked season 1 in that episode. You know what I mean? But
that's true. Yeah.
So like he gets introduced and he's the villain, and when Angel gets introduced, he's literally introduced as like a hunk. Like he gives Buffy a cross necklace and a jacket, and he helps her defeat the 3.
Right there.
Yeah, but do you know what I mean? Like, Angel gets introduced as a hero, and that's how Buffy's first impression of him was. Spike gets introduced as a villain, and I don't think his persona never changed until, like, honestly, until, like, season 7.
You know what's really I love about Spike is, though, like, some of his lines that he says, like, the one that I remember is, "Oh, poor Watcher, did your life flash before your eyes? Cup of tea, almost got shagged, cup of tea."
Cup of tea. That is, like, the best. I mean, he has some of the best lines. Spike is, to me, and that's why I was so glad when they moved Spike onto Angel, because his story arc is incredible. His comedic timing is amazing. And by the way, I, my whole life, thought he was British because his accent...
I know, same.
...is insane. I mean, it's so when I heard him for the first time talking, I was like, why is he talking with an American accent? Like, is he doing this for a role or something? And I Googled it, and he's from California. And I was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding? No. So yeah, Angel only has 2 sides, evil or mopey. He's evil. And I have a soft spot for the broody. Have you met Aiden? I literally shaped my entire sexual preference off of Angel, okay? I saw him at a very influential age, and I was like, that's the one. It's like, I got to get as close to that one as possible.
No, you see, for me personally, now that I think about it, for me, it's either like I shaped it around James Marsters or Tara.
Oh my God, Tara. First of all, I think Tara was beautiful. And I love that Tara also felt realer. Does that make any sense? Compared to like the energy of all the other actresses. You have Cordelia, who looked 37 when she was supposed to be 16. You know, you have Anya, Willow, and Buffy, who are basically the same body with different heads. And then you had Tara, who was still very slim, but she actually looked like a human, like not super tight. Like, you know what I mean? Like she felt like a different body type being introduced for the first time. And I love that. And she was so soft, you know? So do you like Tara better than Oz?
You see, the thing is that I have more of emotional attachment towards Oz than I do Tara. I love Tara's character, but Oz, for me, that I'm more attached to him.
Yes, I feel okay. I feel that way. But going back, yes, Drew and Spike were assembled. They were working with the judge at one point. They weren't. I mean, Drew was, you know, she's a little out there, if you will. But yes, I do feel like, you know, Spike's introduction was in an evil way, and you know, I think that contributed. And also, Drusilla is evil, and she never stopped being evil, you know. So but going back,
introduction line back was Home Sweet Home.
Okay, who do you think is a better actor, James Marsters or David Boreanaz?
Oh, James Marsters by far.
Yeah, I have to agree with that too. James Marsters, like, for instance, this is how I feel. James Marsters could have played Angel, but David Boreanaz could not have played Spike.
No, not at all.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like James Marsters alone, his story arc was probably, other than maybe Willow, do you agree with that? Was like the craziest of all the story arcs?
I honestly think that, yeah, absolutely, because it had so much diversity to it that you didn't know what was going to happen each episode, honestly.
Right, absolutely. And I feel like Spike made such a genuine change. Every season he got, I mean, his speech to Buffy in season 7 where, you know, the hell of a woman speech where he gives her the strength to go and get the scythe. And basically that was the entire, he saved the world repeatedly in season 7. People don't realize how much he saved the world because everyone just sees this big monumental, he's wearing the amulet, his soul, he finally feels it, explosion, the hellmouth collapses. Everyone thinks that's when he saved the world, but that's not the first time he saved the world in season 7. Really, the first time he saved the world is when he went out and stood by Buffy when everyone else who she took care of their whole life and saved time and time again and loved and gave her that, they gave them her house and her life. She died twice for these people. And he left and found her, and he gave her the strength to go back into the winery and get that side. And that was the changing game. That's how she took out Caleb. That's how she was able.
Still pisses me off.
Wait, why?
No, the fact that they kicked her out of her own house.
Yeah. Horrible. Well, that was to me the biggest letdown of season 7 is I just don't feel, Giles, they sort of butchered his character season 7. Okay, fine.
Yeah,
but I was surprised more with Willow because Willow should have stood by. And, and Dawn, sorry, but Buffy yeeted herself into a portal of death to save your life because she loved you. Like, excuse me? Like, you guys are going to betray her because you have a difference of opinion. And by the way, Spike also saved Xander because Xander's eye was getting plopped by Caleb, and Spike pushes Caleb and saves Xander's life too. So Spike did a lot of good. But yeah, I hated the hypocrisy of season 7. That was a big letdown for me, was the sort of how they treated Buffy. And I think that was sort of why I love season 7, but it hurts to watch it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I can understand that. Also the fact that, like, how real Faith's character was. I thought her character development was really good in that season.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it was. And Faith, Faith is one of those characters that, like, most of the fandom will talk about kind of in passing. Everyone talks about Buffy or Buffy and Willow and Spike and, but Faith is one of my favorite characters and also one of my most loathed characters because it's so hard. First of all, I have a question. Do you think that there was a sexual connotation with Buffy and Faith's relationship?
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
Okay, I agree. Do you know in the scene where Angel fakes losing his soul in season 3 to, like, basically, like, psych out Faith and get information about the mayor? Do you know Faith was supposed to kiss Buffy on the mouth and not on the forehead?
Wait, seriously?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
So I watched the behind the scenes, and Joss fought very hard to try to allow Eliza Dushku to kiss Sarah Michelle Gellar. So they have each one has a knife at their throat. And she goes, not yet. And she kissed her on the forehead and runs off. It was supposed to be on the mouth. And he tried, and they just refused. They would not allow a lesbian interaction like that. The first lesbian kiss on the show was one of the first ever lesbian kisses in the history of television, which was actually during the episode of The Body in season 5, where Tara and Willow kiss. People don't think of it that way because people just assume Willow and Tara had kissed before that because they had been dating. But no, what Joss did was the CW finally allowed them to show an on-air girl-girl kiss, and Joss decided to slide it in where it would feel so natural and normal because they're comforting each other in a time of grief that people don't even realize it was the first girl-girl kiss.
Exactly.
Which was so brilliant. I mean, so brilliant. But yeah, so Tara versus Oz. So you like Oz better.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Hands down.
Okay, so Oz was obviously, Seth Green was amazing, a genius character. How do you feel about him cheating on Willow then?
I was, listen, okay, you don't even know how I screamed at my television.
Yeah.
Okay, I was very close to crying. I had never experienced a relationship until I was 23, and I was cheated on by my that then boyfriend. So the first thing I thought was like, oh, this is how it feels. Oh my God.
Oh my God. Oh no. It's horrible. I mean, I think that was also a very human moment. So many people get cheated on, and by seemingly somebody, which by the way, Oz did love Willow. I mean, there's no question. But he cheated on her. So how much could he love her? Now, there's of course the question of he was going with animal instincts because he was a werewolf. It was new to him. He finally met a female werewolf. There was pheromones and hormones at play. But at the end of the day, he did cheat on Willow, and he did choose to leave Willow.
Yeah.
I loved their story. I wish it didn't end the way it did because I feel like it did sully it a little bit for me. But I did find it a wonderful addition when he came back and he saw that Tara was with Willow. Obviously, at first he didn't react very well. He got exactly. a little wolfy. But at the same time, I actually think that was a really important closure for us to see Oz doing okay and that he still loves Willow and he actually wants her to be happy. But I also am really glad that we got to see Willow choose Tara because she could have chosen Oz.
Exactly. I mean, she could have like gone and risked being upset all over again, but she chose happiness.
She chose happiness, and she chose somebody. And it always breaks my heart when Tara's like, it's okay. Like, you can be with him. Like, you love him. It's okay. And I love that it's like the university's on blackout, and Willow shows up at Tara's room with an extra like flamey candle. Oh, I just think it's so cute. And it was such a beautiful way to officially start their relationship. And it wasn't normal at the time when those episodes were airing and Tara and Willow were developing feelings. That wasn't the standard of entertainment back then. So watching two women fall in love with each other in a really subtle and soft way was pretty beautiful. It was pretty wonderful, and it was iconic. The show has so much iconic things, but I think that was definitely one of the other things. Okay, how do you feel about Dawn's portrayal? Because that's another, like Faith, who gets a lot of bad media. Faith got a lot of bad media during the time of airing. She gets a lot of bad, fandom still kind of like hate her for what she did with Angel, whatever. How do you feel about Dawn?
So at first I really loved the character of Dawn. I really thought that her story it went so well with the entire arc of just what Buffy's universe is.
Yes.
But slowly, I began to like just dislike her character more and more because she became more bratty. She became more just self-centered. And you know what? Rightfully so. She's been a traumatized character within the show for a very long time. But the fact is that like I feel, especially in the episode where she thought that she was a Slayer, I felt like that was like. It was so heartbreaking to see because she was finally starting to open up and she was starting to like be okay again. Yeah. But then she like shut down again real quick. And I have just a lovely relationship with her character.
I agree. And I think that for me, the hardest part about Dawn's story is that, first of all, she's introduced in the craziest way. I mean, in an episode where everything's just normal. It was right after the stupid Dracula episode. It just felt like a normal, and then all of a sudden we get introduced this character with no explanation. I mean, the next episode, I remember sitting at my TV going, what the heck? I was like, what? My little baby brain was like, what's happening? You know, she gets introduced in a way that is very Buffy. I mean, it's so Buffy. Yeah. But I have to agree, you know, she was a teenager. And another little fun fact is they were actually going to have Dawn be like 8 or 9. And they decided that the role just was not gelling with someone that little. Because then all of a sudden the story becomes taking care of a child and not a young woman or a young lady coming into her own and just kind of coming into the show and being the key all at once. So it was this coming of age story that was sort of brutal. I mean, it was brutal on everyone involved, but this is actually a fandom theory that goes around, but it actually makes a lot of sense. So for anyone who doesn't know, Dawn's character was introduced, she was introduced in season 5 out of nowhere. We are basically, Joyce goes, can you take your sister to the movies too? Or go like something, I'll go to the mall too. And we see Dawn, and Buffy and Dawn look at each other and they both look off screen. They go, but Mom! And we're like, wait, what? Mom? Who are you? So basically, Joss introduced this 13, 14-year-old character named Dawn as Buffy's sister. Up until that point, Buffy for literally over 4 seasons had no siblings. She was an only child. We then find out that in season 5, Dawn gets created by a group of monks because she holds the energy of as called a key to a hell dimension where Glorificus or Glory, who is a hell god, is trying to get home. So she basically needs to use Dawn's essence, her blood, to open a portal to go home. I know it sounds really crazy, but playing out, it's so much better than it sounded like.
You know what this reminds me of?
What?
Its entirety.
What?
Reminds me of the Doom games, like rip and tear until
Oh my
it's
God,
done.
yes, I totally get that energy. And that's what it sounded like when I was saying it. I was like, this sounds like so. Anyways, so basically Dawn is the key. But she is created from a group of monks. She is not really technically like Joyce did not have sex with Buffy's dad and make Dawn. Dawn was created out of the essence of Buffy, if you will. So Buffy sacrifices herself, saves everyone, and saves Dawn, and it's heartbreaking. And like, I have the tattoo of "Be Brave, Live" on my arm, which is the quote from The Gift season 5 season finale. But this is a theory, and I want everyone to tell me what you think, because I think it's true. So to create Dawn, they had to manipulate everyone who has ever interacted with Buffy, essentially, their memories. Everybody. Dad, mom, Xander, everyone. By anybody. Angel, Riley, everyone, right? Here's the thing. Yeah. Who would have to have the most mind manipulation of everybody?
Probably the mom.
Yes, Joyce. Because Joyce would have had to literally have memories of birthing Dawn and feeding Dawn, and even like, let's be serious, even like having sex with Buffy's dad to make Dawn. Like every memory of Dawn had to be fundamentally altered for Joyce. Now here I might drop a bomb, it might be upsetting. Now the next best person would be Buffy, right? But Buffy's superhuman. She has super healing, super strength. Right after Dawn gets introduced, soon after, Joyce gets a brain tumor. There is a theory that because the monks had to do so much brain manipulation on Joyce, that unlike Buffy with the super healing, Joyce was not able to her brain wasn't able to deal with it, and she then got a brain tumor from it. And that is what caused her brain tumor, because it could be from the monks manipulating her brain so much that...
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I actually kind of think it might be true. The
only way to make any sort of thing out of this is to get Joss Whedon on this podcast.
I know, right? We have to ask, but it kind of makes sense. Like, Buffy wouldn't be affected because Buffy's superhuman. Buffy's dad basically left them after when Dawn would have been very little, so he wouldn't have had that as much manipulation. The most manipulation would have been Joyce, and very soon after Dawn gets introduced, Joyce gets a brain tumor, and I was like, oh my God, that actually makes a lot of sense. And it's never discussed in the show that it could ever have to do with Dawn. No one ever says that. But if you think about it, it kind of makes sense. And it's kind of makes everything worse. You know what I mean? Like,
it adds insult to injury, that's for sure.
Yeah. It's sort of horrible, because then all of a sudden it becomes, would Buffy have had, the rest of her life to be with her mom if it wasn't for Dawn? And and then you have that episode where Dawn tries to bring Joyce back to life. And also that whole episode really pissed me off too, because like, if you're gonna bring Joyce back to life, Dawn, don't rip the picture the minute Joyce is, just let's see her. Let's just see her, okay? Let Buffy hug her for a second.
So much, because I wanted to see a zombified Joyce, okay?
Yeah. I know. I wanted to see a zombified Joyce too. But the thing is, it wouldn't have necessarily been a magical death, because there's a theory that in the Buffy world, human deaths, like when a human kills a human or humans die of a natural death like Joyce, magic cannot bring them back, right? Which sort of makes sense, because if you die a magical death, then magic should be able to undo it, right? But the thing is, though, is it wouldn't necessarily be caused by a magical death, because what could have happened is cancer is from a cell evading apoptosis by basically replicating because of trauma or damage or whatever. So if these memories, that were put into her and had to be manipulated, if her brain just like couldn't take it anymore, her cells could have started to, well, I guess maybe that is a theory. I mean, maybe, I don't know, but I feel like it could, I don't know. That's a good point. But it's very messed up. That theory is super messed up. And I kind of hope for the sake of Dawn, it's not true, because I can't imagine the guilt. And I honestly feel like everything that happens after Joyce's death, with Buffy trying so hard to care for Dawn, Dawn being so evasive. It's how life is with sisters too. You know, it really, it's a very truthful human dynamic between the two of them. Okay, so I feel like we touched on almost all of the Buffy goodness. Okay, so but before we go, who's your favorite big bad?
Oh gosh. Okay, so it's interesting because it's like there are a few of them that I like, but if I were to narrow down like my favorite, it has to be Drusilla.
Your favorite big bad was Drusilla? You have the weirdest taste. Like, what? Your favorite big bad was Drusilla? That she doesn't even come up on my radar. Oh my gosh. You are, okay, tell me why.
Okay, so you have to understand, like, for me, because I majored in psychology, so for me, I look at the brain, I look at like the person.
Yeah, I have a neuroscience degree. I still don't like Drusilla.
Like, not that I like her, like, oh my god, she's such a great character, but like psychologically, she's just fascinating.
Well, she is basically birthed from trauma. Her entire, everything that comes from her was from Angelus. Not just trauma. I mean, he took trauma to another level.
Oh yeah.
It was, I mean, it's really kind of scary. I mean, we could talk about just Angel for an hour, but it really is. And also, I wanted to ask you, did you watch the show Angel?
I did. I liked it in a way, but I wasn't too fond of it. I thought that they could have done way better with the spinoff.
Yeah, and I have to agree. I think Angel, I don't like it. I did not like it. I think that I've watched it twice. I watched it the first time, I hated it. I've watched it the second time to give it another chance, and I still hated it. I think that the relationship that Cordelia had with Connor was disgusting. I think that what they did to Cordelia, period, was disgusting. I thought that Fred was an amazing character, and then they made her Illyria, and I was like, no. Like, I just did not. And I also like the way that Angel plays out, where like every season sort of is like almost more like supernatural-y in their TV show. It's like each episode has a plot, and then there's sort of a big bad towards the end of the season, whereas Buffy had a big bad overarching the entire season with lots of minor plots in between. And I like that system better. I think it was much cleaner. It made more sense. So your favorite big bad is Drusilla. Okay. I will never understand you. Your favorite seasons are 7, 4, and 1, and your favorite big bad is Drusilla. You are amazing.
That I was a weird one, all right?
It's just so okay. So like, my favorite big bad is the mayor, because I think the mayor, or Glory, probably the mayor or Glory, those two, because I love season 3 so much. It holds a very special place. But also Glory, phenomenal. I mean,
or the acting, the way that, like, just the split personality that she has going on over there.
Yes.
The way that she'll care, the way that she'll be like, oh, I'm having all these feelings. I'm like, girl, say.
I honestly love Glory, because I feel like season 5 almost was the series finale. They didn't know if they were going to get picked up for a season 6, so that's why they ended the show where they did, where Buffy died, and it could have been the end of the show. I would have moited everybody if they ended it like that. Everyone would have been moited, but I'm glad they continued, because it did end how it should have always ended. Like, it, you know.
The thing is that with Buffy, they ended it in a really, like, full circle kind of way. And I think it's one of the only shows besides Battlestar Galactica that actually ended the show really well.
Yeah, a lot of shows will fail on the series finale. They fail, they drop, they just, it's not good. What I feel like I loved about the way Buffy ended is Buffy's burden was always being the one, the only one, the one girl in all the world chosen, right? And what was so beautiful about the ending of Buffy is they used the power of the scythe, well, Willow did, to basically make every woman a potential slayer. That anyone who should stand up can stand up now. And that it basically meant Buffy wasn't alone anymore. And that the fight against evil wasn't on her shoulders, or really on Faith's shoulders anymore. And to me, it was such a beautiful and profound moment where they asked Buffy, yeah, Buffy, what do we do now? And you just see Buffy smiling a genuine breath of fresh air and hopeful smile that we hadn't seen because it's been dark. Season 6 and season 7 were dark. So it was, you know, it was beautiful. You know, the show ended in a beautiful way. It really did.
It did. And it made me feel all wholesome and feel like, okay, you know, even though they did like a comic afterwards, yes, the show ended.
And it was iconic. I mean, the show was iconic. And I think for anyone who may not have seen Buffy, it really is one of those shows that, you know, Huggable and I have been watching it. When did you start watching it?
I started watching it when I was 10 or 11 years old. Yeah,
I started watching when I was 7. So, like, yeah, basically you can start when you're very young and it makes a lifelong impression, but that doesn't mean you can't start now, because it is one of those shows where it is really honestly transcendent. It is a show that breaks time. You can watch it today and it feels like it's still current. The problems they were facing back then are still current problems. And I genuinely implore everyone to give it a watch, because it's wonderful. It's amazing.
I mean, like, I'm going to be 29 this year, and it's made such a big impact on how I govern my life, because it's like, you know, okay, this might sound like really, really weird, but maybe this is just me, of where, like, I consider these characters like friends, like
family. I always say I'm watching like home videos when I watch it now. You know, like,
the same way like that.
it just doesn't feel like I'm watching something. It feels like I'm watching home videos. Like, that's exactly what it feels like. And it's just, they don't even feel like characters to me anymore. And I could not agree with you more. I always say, like, what would Buffy do? Like,
exactly.
And if Buffy could die twice and still be kicking and save the world and be able to do those things, then I can get through this anxiety thing. And I know that doesn't make sense for some people, but it really is beautiful. It's a beautiful story. It's powerful for women. It's powerful for men too, because there is male representation that is very important through the Buffy series as well. It's wonderful. It is absolutely wonderful.
And it's one of those things where, like, I always have the viewpoint now that I'm older. There's always a time and place to be a Dawn, and there's always a time and a place to be a Buffy. And I feel like once we get older and we know the world, then you're in your Buffy phase, because you can kick ass and do names. But when you're younger and have to be taken care of by people and understand that you are still growing into your skin and who you are, you're more of a Dawn. You know, you're still growing.
You're still growing, and you're still Dawn. You know, everything that we hated about Dawn, her whininess, her, you know, her entitlement, that is just comes with being a teenager. That is just, that's every teenager. I mean, every teenager. So I completely agree. I feel like you can evolve. And also, if you're one of those people, like my husband Aiden, he just started his Buffy journey, where we took a break, but we're in season 4. I know, I've been with him for 14 years. He finally gave in and was like, fine, I'll watch the whole thing with you. But the thing is, he really right now likes Xander. And I think that for everyone, there's a person that you can connect to, because Xander feels like a guy, just like a regular guy that anybody could be. He's not a werewolf. He's not a witch. He's not a vampire. He's not a slayer. He's just a guy. And I love that they kept that about him. He's just a guy. You know what I mean? And you can have that emotional touchstone with every character. You can find something within every character that feels that it resonates with you. And it's just, it really is. I know I talk about Buffy all the time, but we could talk about it another 14 hours. Like, no problem. There's no problem. But is there anything else you want to share with us today, Huggable Hipster Gaming?
Honestly, like, I was about to say, like, the main character that I really connected with at first when I was younger was Faith, because of, like, just her attitude, because I have such an attitude, as you know. But now it's like, I'm so associated with Buffy, because it's like you're in this stage of your life where you're trying to accomplish so much, especially like in entertainment, like with what you do and with what I do. You have to do so many things at once. You have to take care of house stuff, and then you have to do what you do with your work, and then you have to do everything else. So it's like you are multiple people at the same time, all over the place.
Many hats. You wear many hats. And I think that as you grow up, you're right. Like, you can feel connected to a specific character when you're in that energy zone. And as you grow up, you can change. And every time I watch Buffy, I always feel like I pick up new things for myself. Like, it gives me spoons, you know what I mean? It gives me those emotional spoons and the emotional bearing. Like, when I'm in my darkest place, I'm gonna go watch Buffy, and it will tether me and also take me out and make me feel strong when I feel weak. It will make me feel powerful when I feel like I can't get anything done. When I lose people in my life, I watch it and it fills that hollowness that I'll feel. It really is. And I know that sounds crazy. Like, how could a TV show, but it's not like a TV show to us, right?
Yeah, it's something more. And I feel like this is like another thing that you can even like find relatability to is like whenever Buffy says in the 7th season, you know, I'm cookie dough. I'm not done yet. I'm still baking.
Done. I'm still baking. I'm not. And I love when she goes, when they're ready to eat me, and then she like looks away. She's so relatable. And that's how I feel. Like, I completely feel like I'm still cookie dough. I want a t-shirt that says that.
Hashtag merch.
I honestly do. I really, there's so much relatableness. I think, you know, there's just characters that you feel like you can connect with in its entirety and feel like, okay, like, that's where I'm at right now. I feel like I'm Buffy season 6 and I just got back from heaven and I feel so depressed and so lost and angry, but like, I shouldn't be angry, and everything's cold and harsh and painful. And even just Once More with Feeling, I listened to the soundtrack of Once More with Feeling in the car. Like, it's just amazing. It really is. It's an amazing TV show. And we went over an hour.
I mean, we've been.
We could just keep going. Okay. So thank you so much, Huggable Hipster Gaming. I have known you for so long, and I appreciate you. And I'm so glad we are helping each other on each other's journeys. Thank you so much for coming on here with me, and we could just geek out together and talk about Buffy for over an hour.
All day, every day. I cannot wait till this panty is over so I can actually meet you, have a cup of coffee, and we can talk about this.
You're like the closest person I know to me. Like, it has to happen. This panini has to be over. Thank you so much for everybody for joining us on episode 10 of Coven Conversations. I am PoopWitchX. Today was Huggable Hipster Gaming, and thank you so much for joining us on episode 10. And I hope to see you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.